The Joe Rogan Experience.
You're going to need fat. If you don't, you're going to get fatigued. It'll start fucking with you. And that's one of the reasons why I got really into tallow and really started eating a lot of bacon and things like that.
Why do you think there's such like a national misconception that fat's bad for your body? Because I hear that from a lot of people, like, I don't want to eat it, it's fat.
Well, they were told that for the longest time. Well, first of all, there's real evidence that sugar and these companies that made sugar paid scientists to fuck with data to put heart disease and all these problems that people are having with clogged arteries, to push that off on saturated fat,
right? And
to take that away from sugar,
right?
And sugar is terrible for you. Sugar in that form is so unnatural,
right?
Fat in the form of meat is very natural. Mm-hmm. It's what human beings have been eating since the beginning of time.
Yeah, monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, saturated fats, all pretty good for you. Just like stay away from trans fat. It's probably,
unsaturated fats that come from vegetable oils, like I think it's called linoleic acid, is fucking terrible for you.
Really?
Not only is it terrible for you, there's real evidence that it makes you hungry. That like you're eating it and there's no nutrients in it, so your body gets hungrier. Look, throughout human history, there's never been a time until recently where people got oils directly from plants in large quantities like that. You know, if you got oil from plants, it was like oil from avocados, like natural. Mm-hmm. Or you got your oil from, beef fat or chicken fat or things that's natural for human beings.
Right.
These saturated fats that are natural, your body knows what to do with them. Your body doesn't know what the fuck to do with canola oil.
What is it? Your body's like, what the fuck is this?
Your body gets a hold of like some raw honey. Your body knows exactly what to do with it. But your body gets a hold of like fucking corn syrup and that kind of shit. It's like, what is this? It just doesn't make sense to your body. And I think we've gotten into this processed food thing. And processed food is almost entirely... Like it's first of all, it's a new human creation.
Yeah.
And it should never be your first choice. Your first choice should be natural foods. Your first choice should be look, apple, steak, all that. That's normal. You can eat that. That's easy. Your body knows what the fuck to do with that. But you get into like seed oils and all these like really heavily processed seed oils. Like there's real evidence that is a giant part of what's wrong with the health of Americans today is these ultra processed vegetable oils. They're fucking terrible for you.
But it doesn't seem to me like that's a stretch in logic, right?
No.
So for just the American diet in general, for us to look at the traditional food pyramid and say, well, that's bullshit. Ultimately, if grains and processed foods sit at the cornerstone of your entire diet, you're going to have some issues. You can kind of look around. You don't even have to be a rocket surgeon to figure that out, right? It's like, holy shit, obesity is an epidemic in the United States.
Yeah.
We're eating a ton of processed food, and all the guys that I know that are healthy are eating whole foods for the most part. And it's not because you have more discipline or because you have more access or wealth. I know a ton of guys that are not very wealthy that eat whole foods, and they're feeding in certain windows, and they're still in the military, still doing fucking incredibly difficult missions, and they're really healthy. So when I look around, I say, well, okay, if you stick to whole foods and you limit your amount of caloric intake, we're not dealing in a high intellect thought process here. It should be pretty easy, but I think what people want is they want their easy button, right?
Well,
They're
you're
like,
hungry. You see Jack in the Box, you pull in, you get a burger, you're like, oh, now I feel better. But meanwhile, you just force some shit into your system. Now your system's got to burn off all this bullshit that you poured in there. But there's even foods that people think are healthy that are not really good for you. Like, for instance, white rice is better than brown rice.
Yes.
Like people think white rice, like, oh, I'll have brown rice. I'm being healthy. I have brown rice.
It's got to be one of the biggest misconceptions out there.
That fucking stuff, there's arsenic in that.
But it's brown.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's brown.
It looks like grains.
But
that's all I eat is white rice. Yeah.
That shit is terrible for you.
Terrible.
Like there's a reason why Asian cultures for a long time have been getting rid of that outside, that husk.
God, the Japanese got it right with food, I'm telling you.
They
Sushi,
did.
White rice, seaweed, just all day.
And
favorite.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of countries that figured it out. We're just not one of them. We're like ultra-processed seed oils, sugar, corn syrup, preservatives, fucking gallons of preservatives, glyphosate on all our plants. Yeah. There's also evidence that like animals, and I've been getting into this lately, animals that eat these ultra processed foods, then you eat them. Like animals that eat like ultra processed corn, and then you eat that animal. Like you're getting some of the bullshit from the corn and some of the bullshit from that. All these seed oil acids, you're getting these things in your body too.
But that makes sense to me.
It does.
Right? It makes complete sense to me when we look at what they're eating and then you're eating them.
For sure.
Like there's really not a direct, or you're not stretching and connecting a lot of complex thought there, in the sense of when people are trying to sell me on the idea, like, no, it's great, don't worry about it. It's like, no, man, like those chickens are eating arsenic and they're packed in, right on top of each other, shitting on each other everywhere. Like I'd rather have a free range egg. I'd rather have that. I'd rather have free range chicken. It's no offense to however you want to eat, but it's just a preference of eating. It's pretty easy. I think that the argument comes from maybe corporate impact in marketing, where Americans will consume it without thinking and go, well, it's good because Jack in the Box told me that it's organic.
Well, I think if there's any one thing in this country where there is a massive lack of understanding in terms of like the way people perceive what's good and what's bad, it's nutrition. Because there's so few doctors that really know what the fuck they're talking about. There's doctors out there that'll tell you don't need supplements. You don't need supplements. You need a healthy, balanced diet. And then you look at them, they got a gut. They look bloated. They look like they're dying. Like episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience are now free on Spotify. That's right. They're free. From September 1st to December 1st, they're going to be available everywhere. But after December 1st, they will only be available on Spotify, but they will be free. That includes the video. The video will also be there. It'll also be free. That's all we're asking. Just go download Spotify. Much love. Bye-bye.